Delicious. Have you ever thought where one of these come from? Let's go and find out. Hello Jambo viewers, welcome in our today's show. Leo tunafanya a bit different whereby we'll be doing this interview here. It's about broiler farming, and this is one of the farming practices we should be having here in town. This is basically urban farming. Tuko na Bwana Munyalo hapa hivi. Karibu kwa show yetu.
Asante sana.
Yeah, sir. So, when did you start doing this farming?
Nifanya fikiri kama about 6 months ago. About 6 months ago, yeah.
And this is small scale. Uko na kuku ngapi hapa?
Hapa niko na kuku 200.
200
niko na kuku.
That is the often number unaleta kila siku.
Oh. Kwa hili banda ni 200, alafu kwa lile banda lingine ni 200.
Oh, so basically ni 400.
400.
Okay. He has a carrying capacity of 400 birds. And unawape, how often do you feed them? About feeding?
Thrice
a day.
A day.
And do you have an approximate number of kilos ya chakula unapea?
Kilos nanunua kama 50 kg bags.
About so, in a day, I'm giving an approximate. Do you have an approximate in a day? How many do you feed the 200 number? Because uko na 200 in this banda and 200 in the other banda. So in this capacity of 200, do you have an average of ni ngapi una feed?
Normally na feed in a day kama into 50, na kama hizi feeders kama 4.
Yeah.
So
and this is a 5 kg. This is a 5 kg feed as I can see. Yeah, this is approximate 5 kg of the jua kali ones. Unaweza zoom. Yeah, the jua kali ones. And yeah, this is 5. And you in a day unapea 4, unapea 4.
Na upatia 4.
So that is, yeah, that is approximate 17 kgs hapo in a day, if that is for 200 birds. Okay. And do you have an approximate amount of water yenye unapeana kwa maji in a day?
Yeah, maji pia ni 3 times in a day.
3 times a day.
Kwa hii 10 liters. Yeah. So huwa nawekea kama 3 ama 4. It depends on weather.
Yeah, sure.
Weather ikiwa nzuri.
Our viewers ujue what happens with most of these birds. The water consumption doesn't usually varies with the weather condition, especially here in Mombasa. Birds tend to drink a lot of water, so that can't be a constant thing. The most constant thing ni chakula. Okay. So, and what are the challenges you are facing kwa ufugaji since uanze? You have 6 months ndio umesema.
Challenges na face, especially kama kuna bad weather, kuna extreme weather conditions, so they tend to take time to grow big, you know, mpaka wafike ile market level. Hiyo ndio challenge.
They take a longer time during and is it ni wakati wa joto? What is the pattern? Wakati wa joto mingi or it is this time ya baridi?
That is one of the challenges, na pia the food. Sometimes pia supply ya chakula inakuwa ngumu. Ile ambayo umeanza nayo uje ubadilishe tena inakuwa ngumu.
It becomes a challenge.
There is no constant supply of
feed or feeds. Yeah. Okay. So by the way, while addressing these challenges, I think if there are challenges zenye zina face in terms of economy, you can address some of our waheshimiwas tuko nao hapa. I'm sure you will be addressing the waheshimiwas tutafutia kura saa hizi when you tafuta votes from us. I have about 5 I know in this channel. Maybe they can also address the issues to their bosses, whereby they will help you in terms of economic now, the economic aspect, leave alone the weather the weather challenges, what about economic, maybe chakula, madawa? Are there anything utasema there are challenges on that side?
Ni upande wa chakula na sana kama tungepata constant supply because unajua sometimes wanachukua kama 5 to 6 weeks. So inafika wakati mpaka hatupati market ya kutosha ya kuenda. So you have to dig deeper in your pockets. So kama tungepata watu wakatu supply kidogo na chakula, ingekuwa vizuri zaidi.
This is up to the companies who are there. They should know there is a market gap hapa nje. So okay, Bwana Munyalo, also have you gotten any solution on the problems you are talking about? Kuna venye ume innovate maybe a solution, maybe umetuambia about the weather. You didn't talk about whether ni baridi iko ama ni joto iko. Have you gotten some solutions on the weather issue? Ama maybe any other challenge you are facing here in the farm level?
Well, normally to go by this time, March or April, we are expecting some rains. But bado weather imekuwa extreme weather, is dry. So as you can see, nimeanza kupunguza hizi cages zangu kidogo, vibanda viwe chini, so that wapate hewa safi, so that they take a shorter time to grow and to go to the market. Yes.
Okay, that is ventilation unaongeza in short, eh? And can I ask you about business wise, is this business profitable or is it loss? Is it a loss to you, according to you? Because most of the young people here, I would advise them to venture into businesses such as these businesses here. Just squeezy, getting a job, it's a little bit challenge in our country. So how can you advise a young person there who doesn't have any business idea, and maybe he's here in town trying to hustle, and maybe he has a place whereby he can set up a small banda like this? Is it profitable or is it a loss to them? What can you advise them to mwenye ku venture into such a business?
Kwa ujumla hii biashara haitupi mtu. Ukifanya ukiwa uko makini vizuri, haitupi, as long as unawapatia chakula vizuri na madawa, ile vaccination unawapatia, haitupi mtu. You'll be able to, by the time chicks wameondoka, hiyo batch ingine, even before, you can have some provision ambaye unaweza kaagiza batch ingine or lot ingine.
So definitely it is a business that he can't complain much about it, and maybe after some renovations and maybe even innovations, it might be much higher profitable business. Okay, and what about market? Did you get any problem with marketing of your final product, that is meat? These are broilers, that means they are only kept for meat. Do you have any challenge with marketing?
Yeah, marketing niko nayo, sababu wale ambao wanakuja wanachukua kama 5, 10, but sometimes ningependa waje wengi, at least either 40 or 50. So this is an appeal to hotel companies, zile ambazo zina
they should also focus on the small scale farmers.
Small scale farmers waje, na transport is also an issue, because kuchukua hizo alafu kuwapatia tena kuwapelekea huko ni issue kubwa sana.
Yes. I get it. Okay. So I'm seeing umeweka broilers peke yake, hauna any other type of bird in this farm. Why did you go for broiler? Maybe your specific reason, and why you would tell maybe a young farmer or a new farmer out there mwenye anataka kuanza kufuga kuku. What would you tell him? Maybe why go for broiler, or why do you prefer broiler than layers maybe?
Okay, broilers inakupatia steady income, because by the time, as I said, ile lot imeondoka, hii ingine you'll be able to ile profit na ile supply tena umenunua wengine. So it is constantly your pockets won't dry.
I get. So what he means, broilers they mature very fast actually. It's a 6-week business and you harvest your profit. So if you're out there, it's not a bad business as he have said it. You can put that in consideration. So the other thing we will be discussing with him, it's about how to bring them up. Broilers, they are very delicate birds, that whereby you should set a banda, whereby if you are in a very hot place kama huku Mombasa, you should ensure that the bandas have proper ventilation, and during cold periods you should set up such things as you can see. Kuna some gunias, you can zoom, there are some gunias zimewekwa huku hivi ambazo those protect from baridi ideally during the cold seasons, and well ventilated bandas are very important. So you should be also in a place where prevailing wind haiko direct, as he has said his. I wish we could show from the outside. Usieke banda in a place whereby upepo inaingia direct, because if we happen to have an outbreak of an airborne disease whereby most of diseases are airborne, you might face a very big challenge and a very huge loss due to that. And also baridi during extreme weather conditions where you have faced your banda on towards the wind kwenye inakuja, it's a problem. And also kama your homestead is on the upper hand side, unapeleka hiyo harufu, sometimes they do stink, they produce a very stinky stool yenye inanuka sana, and that's one of the challenges you should be avoiding. Okay, alafu bwana Mnyalo, let me ask you a question, nimesahau hapo nyuma. What do you do with in case of ugonjwa? Basically, well, how do you act? Because I know these are birds that hautakosa. Even I'm sure. How many birds did you bring at first?
I brought 200.
And how many are they right now?
And so far 5 have died.
Oh, 5 have died. So, okay, that's not. And how old are the birds actually now?
They're about 4 weeks and 2 days.
4 weeks and 2 days.
Yes.
Okay, so you can see that's almost a month. Wamepata a loss of 5 birds. It's a significant percentage. Ukiangalia, it's about 2.5% of the total population. That's a significant number. Now, how do you deal with such cases? Umepata ugonjwa. What do you do actually? The first step.
Well, nikipata ugonjwa, I normally don't panic, and nitaangalia from the veterinary people ile origin ama source ya huo ugonjwa, so that hao wengine wamebakia wawe in good health.
Okay. So definitely he do call us, because we are the service providers around here. So that's what is advisable for most of the poultry farmers. You should have at least one vet in your contact mwenye you will be asking any question, rather than doing some guesswork or relying on people who maybe don't know anything. They are not professional in the level. You should rely on the professionals, especially on that bit, because these birds have a lot of diseases. So the first point I will go on is the how to take care of the birds. Don't know if you have a brooder. On the first day, you should have a brooder. Vifaranga wakitoka, because they come as a day-old chick, you should have a brooder whereby it have sufficient temperature. It shouldn't be cold and it shouldn't be hot. You should be able to set the bulb, and the behavior of the birds will tell you if there is a lot of heat in the brooder. And the brooder should be always circular, to avoid that makes to avoid the chicks from clogging on the corners, and they can suffocate themselves. Secondly, you should do some vitamins and glucose in the water, and do that on the first day as they arrive. The reason we provide these, they are called chick formulas. The reason we do this is because these chicks have been on their first day, and they are not with their parents, so they are subjected to some stress. Maybe they have been shipped from Nairobi to here, or even from the hatchery to the farm level, wamekuwa na some stress. So what you should do, you should give them the vitamins and some glucose that relieves the stress to the chicks. And you should also add some liquid paraffin in their drinking water for the next 3 days. That's to reduce constipation in the birds. And we mostly advise, when those chicks are young, you should be putting maybe a newspaper at the bottom where you are feeding them, because the newspaper triggers a certain sound which is natural to them. It happens to behave ni kama ile ya mama yao, so they will be knowing that's where the food is. And you start, unaanza na chakula gani bwana Mnyalo? Kwanza unaanza na starters, which chakula unaanza nayo?
Normally wanaanza na starters, na wakija sasa vile unavyosema, huwa nawaekea jiko ile ambayo iko circular ile. For heating.
Jiko is more economic than steamer.
Jiko nawekea, and pia it is within their reach. Rather than steamer, iko mbali kidogo. Okay. So nawekea iko hapo karibu, na I take special consideration sababu as you say, hawana mama yao. so huwa nawaangalia sana closely vile watavyo ile necessary temperature.
So, na chakula unaanza na starters.
Na naanza na starters, naendelea nayo for quite some time, up to 4 weeks. Up to 3-4 weeks.
Okay. That's okay. And something else now, you should be giving your birds liquid paraffin and the vitamin supplement. I would really prefer you don't go for those chick formulas zenye ziko na antibiotic ndani, because we are on a war against microbial resistance. Actually, these are the products that you will be eating at the end of the day, and we couldn't want them to be full of antibiotics. This is also bringing some issues to us. So go for the vitamins, and the one is which is purely vitamins and also minerals, some minerals inside it. And also now after that you can add something like liquid paraffin to reduce the constipation. On the third day you should vaccinate these birds against Newcastle vaccine. It's available in a wide range of the administration. Kuna eye drop, kuna injection, and also kuna oral. I don't know, Bwana Mnyalo unatumia gani kwa Newcastle? The first vaccine you give, unapea gani, ya macho, ya kudunga, ama ile ya kukunywa kwa maji?
Napatia normal, I wait for 1 week, 7 days ndio nawapatia Newcastle ile ya kuweka kwa maji.
Yeah, kwa maji.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think the oral one is which is most convenient to you farmers, because having a large number of birds kudunga moja moja, you need some professional to do that work, and also you will be needing a lot of labor. So I prefer the oral, and when administering the oral drug, make sure you are using distilled water, because distilled water does not have any mineral in it. The normal drinking water we have, it has chlorine. And what happens with these vaccines, they contain some live or maybe attenuated virus, whereby if you add the chlorine will kill the vaccine, and the vaccine won't be in any active form. Okay, so the second vaccine is given at 7 days. That is at 10 days. That is 7 days from the previous one. If you are sure about maybe your sanitary place and also biosafety of your farm, you can leave at 8 at that point. But also you can give a second Gumboro. That is the second vaccine is Gumboro, which is given at 10 days. You can also give a second Gumboro and also a second Newcastle if the disease is prevalent at your area. So I think we are done with, and also about now feeding. You should be feeding your birds with starters, and also do the finishers at the last. Starters unaweza pair for the first 3 weeks or maybe up to 4 weeks, and then the last 3 weeks unapea finishers, or maybe the last 2 weeks according to your preference of method. That is the method of yenye umechagua kuwapea chakula nayo. So Bwana Munyalo, and what do you do now after the slaughter? Maybe after while doing the slaughters, are these birds inspected by an officer, or are you aware of such things who zina happen? Because according to Kenyan constitution, there are these things zinafanyika, like meat inspection is something that is very crucial, which is also protecting us from getting zoonotic diseases. We can get a lot of diseases from these animals. So are you aware of it, or do you do it?
Yeah, most of the time I do it, because kuna watu wa county inspectors who wanakuja and they inspect each chick.
Yeah.
So alafu wana stamp pale. Yeah. So they are ready for sale after they meet the criteria required.
Yeah, this is for most of the farmers. So what I would really advise the farmers, ensure any animal you have, any farm animal you have, that should be inspected by a veterinary officer who is certified by the government. Wako kwa county, this is devolved nowadays, it's at the county level. You will get, in any county office, you will get a veterinary officer who does the meat inspection at farm level. I would really advise for that. It protects us against the zoonotic diseases. And also in terms of data collection, utajua zile ugonjwa zenye they are in your farm. Later on the government gazettes them, and you might get provisions of vaccines and maybe other things later on. Okay, so I think that's all we have for today. Maybe we can just have a shorter visit at the farm, at the banda, and you can see this is an ideal setup actually. I would really advocate for this. This is what we call a deep litter system. This is what we call deep litter system. And these birds are at the 4th week, so in the coming weeks they will be, maybe in the next 2 weeks they will be ready for slaughter. The drinkers, we mostly advise the drinkers to be on such a stand. This is for hygiene purposes. You can show them on a zoom. They should be in such a stand because when they are on the ground, the birds tend to dirtify it. Also the feeders. This is for hygiene reasons, and hygiene is the key factor in terms of chicken rearing. Hygiene should be very, very crucial, especially on the banda, whereby even after removing these birds after slaughter, you should also disinfect the banda before you bring other birds. Okay, and now there is also ventilation. These are the ventilation. The ventilation is very okay here. This gives reduces stress to these birds. Jukukua na a lot of heat, the birds will be really stressed. Something else, these sacks which are here, they act as curtains during the cold season, whereby it's an ideal way of controlling the temperatures also. Also, I think you should have a pair of these drinkers, especially with the drinkers. You should have a pair of them, whereby if you happen to wash these, you sun dry them to sterilize them for hygiene purposes, and then you'll use them on the next time you'll be watering them, and dry the one you have been using the whole day. You wash them, or maybe you can use these disinfectants to wash your containers with. I think we'd have nothing much about that. We are done for the day, and also you should put sawdust. Unaonyesha sawdust. No, this is wood shavings, I'm sorry. You should also be using wood shavings rather than sawdust, because sawdust is very tiny and these birds might have to eat it. Might tend to think it's food and eat the sawdust. So we prefer wood shavings. Yeah, I think that's all for the day. Thank you. So kindly subscribe to our channel, like and follow us for more tips on animal. This is a channel about farming, all animal lovers, that is animal keepers, and also public health matters concerned. Welcome.